Okay, so for paragraph 3 or more, or 3 plus, I call it, you're going to discuss if the literature details additional problems to the one discussed in paragraph 1. Discuss what each problem is and include references. If the paragraph exceeds 12 sentences, start a new paragraph. So essentially what you're doing with this third paragraph and all the other paragraphs preceding the final paragraph is you're discussing research related to problems that are associated with your study. Okay? So if there are multiple problems or multiple studies that discuss the problem, you're going to discuss these studies in these paragraphs. Okay? Because again, think of the background section as a mini literature review, that focuses on the background of the problem, okay, or the background that serves to bolster the argument, okay? All right, so this was paragraph 1, this was paragraph 2, and here is paragraph 3. Now, so in paragraph 3, Dr. Walker, let's see, Carelli et al. Stated that one significant limitation of the study involved possible defensiveness from the participants. The researchers concluded that defensiveness is a possibility with all research that utilizes self-report, and the participants may try to look socially desirable and therefore may acknowledge fewer problems or negative attributes. Carelli et al. And Peters and Malinsky 2008 also determined that there may be concerns amongst gamers that research in the area could result in restrictions to online gaming. Okay, so what they did, okay, what Dr. Walker did is she talked about the limitations of the studies that she discussed in paragraph 1, paragraph 2. You don't have to do that because that's what you do in the literature review. This is a summary, okay? This is a summary. The background section is a summary of the literature on the background. You don't have to go in and critique the literature. That is done in chapter 2. So I just wanted to show you an example of something that we don't need to include. All right. So let's go into the fourth paragraph, which is 3 plus, right? Cuss and Pang and Liu found that online gaming dependency, defined as a psychological state characterized by psychological discomfort experienced by online gamers when they are unable to play online games as they wish, was associated with maladaptive cognitive shyness and depression. Although gaming and internet usage are different, it is notable from the current studies that excessive internet use and excessive use of MMORPGs both result in interpersonal problems. Now, so basically, the way this went is up here, we talked about excessive internet use, Dr. Walker did. Then she talked about excessive internet gaming. Then she threw away a paragraph talking about limitations. Then she talked about gaming dependency, research on gaming dependency, which is another problem associated with in the background, right? So we went from internet usage, excessive gaming, to gaming dependency. All right, let's go to the next paragraph and see what she talks about. And this would be paragraph 5, and this would still be included in this because it's talking about the background of the problem. The final paragraph talks about the gap, so we're not talking about the gap yet. So let's go to this 5th paragraph. In other studies, researchers examined frequency of playing history, the favorite and least favorite aspects of playing the game, and what they sacrificed to play the game. Again, this is literature on the background of the problem. In Griffin et al. And Curley et al. Study, they found that adults were likely to sacrifice social events and sacrifice sleep, and further suggested that high engagement players have at least some negative consequences in their lives, like missing school and work. All right, so this is an extension of this third paragraph, right? This 3+ paragraph, because again, we're talking about different aspects of the problem. We're talking about either different problems or an evolution of the problem. All right. So this is what we're going to cover in the third paragraph, or what we call 3+ paragraph, because it's going to be covered in multiple paragraphs. That's why I put 3+, because you're covering the same thing across multiple paragraphs. Okay. So again, you're going to discuss additional problems, the research on those problems, and what those problems are and what the research says about those problems. Okay. So basically, you're going to follow this framework here. All right. About these new problems. You're going to discuss what are these problems, and so on and so forth. You don't have to go into initially the same amount of detail up here, but just discuss the problem and the research. You give the main problem a lot of emphasis, but then the smaller problems, you just discuss what they are and what the research says, right? What is the problem and what does the research say about the problem? That's all you're doing here for all the additional problems, okay? If that's not clear, send me a message. But we saw how they did it here, right? She talked about gaming dependency. She talked about the research on gaming dependency. Then she talked about additional research on gaming frequency, playing history, looking at the favorites and least favorite games and what the research said. Okay, so that's how she extended this area right here, the 3+ paragraph. All right, and now we're going to go to the final paragraph where we discuss the limitation, not the limitations, but the gap and so on and so forth. All right.